You guessed it, it's Father's Day. And I want to talk today a little bit about Father's Day, what that means to you, and what you can do about it if maybe this is not the happiest day for you. So join me today for the Cultivating Calmness podcast as we dive in a little deeper with that. So, if you are somebody who is coming up on Father's Day this week and it's maybe not the happiest day or the happiest moment or time in your life, that's okay. I understand. And it can be that way for a plethora of reasons. For some of you, that means maybe your father or somebody important to you has died in the recent year or years, and it's just a hard day to recognize. I understand that. It's not my dad, but it is my mom who has died. And so that day has always been a little hard. It gets better over time. But I know I have some friends who have recently lost fathers, and this may be a hard time thinking about what that means for you and how you may or may not want to celebrate it. It's okay. You can choose what you do on this day. For some people who have lost loved ones, they still want to celebrate the day because that's what's special to them. So if that's what works for you, good. If that means, going to their favorite coffee spot or getting or making their favorite meal, going and doing their favorite thing, and that's what you want to do, then and that's going to be helpful for you, then I encourage you to do that. If doing those types of things may be too hard for you, you don't have to do those things. But I would encourage you to maybe think about doing something. And maybe it's not on Father's Day. Maybe it's going to be on a different day. That is totally okay as well. It's really what works for you. And for some, that might mean I do it a little bit and then I don't do the rest. So maybe I show up for a Father's Day dinner somewhere, or, I do something for our family, my family, but maybe I have to leave the room for a little bit. Maybe I have to leave early. Thinking about your exit strategy, if that's the case, that may be something that's helpful for you. So each person's experience is unique and you can make it your own. But if you aren't sure what to do, think about ways you can celebrate your person, to remember them and remember what they brought to your life and not what is missing from your life. So I actually just had this conversation with someone, and something you can consider doing, and something I haven't necessarily done myself, but I know people who do. And, when you see things from a different light, it reminds you that, or it reminds you of good ideas that maybe you hadn't thought about in a while. So I saw something on social media that basically said, you know, start taking pictures, create a folder on your phone or your computer or wherever, and start taking pictures of things that remind you of your person, the things that that person brought to your life, not so that you're not focusing on the things that are missing, right? The fact that they are not there. We want to focus on the ways to be reminded about how they are present in your life, the things that they did bring to your life, the memories that you did have. So rather than say you used to always go to a certain store with them, and now they're not here, so you can't go to that store with them anymore. So every time you go into the store, you're having a panic attack, or you're crying, or you're remembering how they're not with you, right? That's the negative side of that. Trying to flip your mind and trying to see the opposite of that can also be very therapeutic and very helpful. And that's okay. When I go to the store, it may be a little sad, but I want to try to remember what they brought to my life, not focusing on what's missing from my life because they're not here in this moment, right? So it's, oh, I remember when we used to go look at these things. And I remember that time we bought that one item. And I remember how we used to do this and that at this store. And oh, how we would maybe buy all of the things we needed for our project. And then, we would build it together. Or I would get instructions from my person on what to buy and how to build it. And they would help me out and help me figure it out, right? So it's, what can I do to remember my person in a positive versus what am I seeing all the time and how they're missing in my life? You're really doing this, you're going to the same place, but we're just trying to switch how we're thinking about it. And that's for anybody in your life who is no longer in your life, whether they've died or whether they're just not present in your life anymore. And that leads to the other difficulties when it comes to holidays like Father's Day is people who've maybe had absent fathers or fathers who are maybe incarcerated, or fathers who have chosen not to be part of your life, or, fathers who have left, fathers, who have, found other families. There are lots of other things that happen with fathers and mothers, but we're talking about Father's Day today. Lots of things that happen with fathers where it's a negative reminder and a negative experience. And so that can make days like Father's Day really difficult. And again, sometimes it's finding that mind shift. Maybe it's not my father we're celebrating. Maybe it's somebody else's father we're celebrating. Maybe, if you're married, maybe it's your partner's, your husband's father that you're celebrating. Maybe if you have kids and you have a spouse and a husband, and you're celebrating them rather than your father. Maybe it's recognizing your friends and your family members who are fathers, who maybe played an important role in your life or are playing an important role in somebody else's life, and you are recognizing that. So again, it's focusing on what you have in your life versus what you don't have in your life. And for some, right, not having a father, maybe their father wasn't a great person. And, for you, maybe you're celebrating the fact that you don't have that person in your life because they have brought a lot of toxic, stuff to your life. So a lot of different ways you can look at Father's Day. Doesn't mean it's not going to be difficult. So for some, not having a father in your life for any number of reasons, some that I named, some that I probably didn't name, makes it a hard holiday to celebrate. You don't have to celebrate. That's one thing you can do. You can remember the role that they did have in your life, if it was good, if it wasn't. It's recognizing, that maybe you didn't need them in your life, or it's also potentially getting to mourn what you are missing. So yes, it's okay to mourn. It's okay to miss and grieve and talk about and think about the things that you wish you had in your life and you don't have, rather than burying it. And I actually saw this in, a social media post somewhere. And it was another way of thinking about, the things that we bury. And not just, when we bury our loved ones in the ground, but when we, push things away, when we try to pretend things don't exist, when we avoid things. Those are things that are still happening. It's like we're burying those things alive. So those things are still alive in us. They're just buried. And that's why it can be so hard to get rid of those feelings, and those memories, is because we haven't gotten rid of them. They haven't died. They're still very much alive in us, and we've just buried them alive. I thought that was a really good visual for the things that we bury. And so if you've buried things like that in your life, that grief, that difficulty, those maybe toxic relationships, the traumas that you experienced. Um, Maybe this is a time to think about it and to be able to process and talk to somebody about it, whether that's a therapist or whether that's just a friend, a trusted confidant, your partner, another family member. Getting those things out is actually going to be more helpful than burying them and leaving them festering inside. But that often brings up intense emotions and maybe additional memories. And I think that's what people are afraid of. If I start talking about it and I bring it up, it's going to bring up all this emotion that I don't want to feel and I don't want to think about, because we have thoughts and beliefs connected with those things as well. Like, it makes me weak, it means there's something wrong with me, et cetera, et cetera. None of those things are true. It just means that your body and your mind is finally starting to release something that you didn't want it to release, whether that was by choice or whether that was like by habit or whether that was just necessity. Um, you know, a holiday that brings up a lot of stuff could be a good time to start to let it out. Some people start with journaling, writing stuff down, and journaling can be whatever you want it to be. Not, I have to write, a 20-page essay to get things off my mind. You can journal however you want. I would love to be one of those bullet journalers. They look really cool. Um, I feel like I'm creative, but I'm not that creative. So I would love somebody to make me one, and then I can just fill it in. So if you're one of those people, hit me up. I would like to have a bullet journal like that versus being able to actually do one, create one. I don't know that I have the ability to do that, but they look really cool for those of you who like that's your thing. It could look something like that. So this Father's Day, as with any holiday, it can be difficult for some and it can be a really great experience for others. And it's okay to have a little bit of both. So for me, I want to celebrate my dad. My dad is still around, and he became dad and mom when I was just 7. And so for the longest time, we would celebrate him on Mother's Day and Father's Day. And he did the best he could as a single dad, raising 3 kids, taking us to all kinds of activities and, homemade meals and interacting with, my family or, my mom's side of the family, which hasn't always been the easiest thing to do. And putting up with drama from teenagers and, his kids not getting along, brotherly, sisterly love, and into adulthood, being able to continue that on and manage expectations and still be dad in our lives. So I thank my dad for everything that he did for me and my siblings, and I love him very much, and I'm glad that he is still here with me, and with our family. And, I thank him for a job well done and doing all that he could to give us everything he could, in a world where, it hasn't always been easy. I wish a happy Father's Day to my father-in-law who raised my husband. And I have, known him for 20 plus years now. And, he is a wonderful man and does a lot for his family and his boys. And, I thank him for just all the things that he does for our family and his grandkids, and the service he has had for not only his country but his family, and just the work he has done throughout his career. I love hearing his stories and his inventiveness and his creativeness and all the things that he has done in his life. I wish a happy Father's Day to my father-in-law. And happy Father's Day to my grandpa. He is still with us, my one remaining grandpa, and he has been through a lot of trauma in his life. And, I thank him for just putting up with all of that and going through all of that and kind of picking himself up and, pushing forward and taking care of his kids, and then taking care of my siblings and I, after my mom died, and then being around for not only his grandkids but now lots of great grandkids. So happy Father's Day to my grandpa. And last but not least, a very happy Father's Day to my husband, the behind the scenes guy here. He is the one who makes all the magic happen. I definitely wouldn't be doing all of this. It wouldn't look the way it does without him. I, um, would probably just set up a little phone camera and that'd be that. So a very happy Father's Day to my husband who rocks it. He does all kinds of things for our family. He takes care of our house, and he takes care of my business, and he's great with our kids, and he is the planner and the cleaner and all the things that I am not. He is all of those things and definitely could not function well without him. So I love you, and happy Father's Day to my husband, and for all the other fathers out there, happy Father's Day to you as well. Thank you again for joining me today, and I will see you again next week.